What's good, Skol Nation? It's time to fire up the purple and gold passion because we're diving into the Minnesota Vikings blockbuster offseason moves for 2025. General Manager Kwesi Adofo-Mensah has been wheeling and dealing like a man on a mission, and the talk of the town is the big splash on the defensive line. But hold up, one analyst thinks the Vikings might have dropped the ball on a key signing. Is it true, or is this just hot take noise? Let's break it down. The Vikings' 2024 season was a roller coaster, 14 wins. But those back-to-back losses exposed some glaring weaknesses. Protecting the quarterback and generating interior pressure were Achilles' heels, and Kwesi's clearly had enough. So he went all in this offseason, beefing up the trenches on both sides of the ball. But one move, a $30 million deal for defensive tackle Javon Hargrave, has sparked some serious debate. Is it a genius steal or a costly mistake? Stick with me for 10 scenes as we unpack the Hargrave signing, Kwesi's master plan, and what it means for our Vikings in 2025. Are we building a Super Bowl contender, or did we overpay for an aging star? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let's get into it, Skol. Our 2024 season was a wild ride. Vikings fans, 14 wins had us dreaming of a Super Bowl run. But those late-season losses stung, exposing holes in our offensive line and a lack of interior defensive pressure that left us vulnerable. Sam Darnold was running for his life, and our D-line couldn't collapse the pocket consistently. It was a gut punch, but it lit a fire under GM Kwesi Adofo-Mensah to make some noise this offseason. Kwesi's strategy? Go big or go home. With J.J. McCarthy's rookie contract giving us cap flexibility, he targeted the trenches to build a foundation for the future. The Vikings only had 4 draft picks in 2025, so free agency became the name of the game. Enter Javon Hargrave, Jonathan Allen, and Will Fries, veterans with big potential, but also some injury baggage. It's a high-risk, high-reward gamble, and Skol Nation is buzzing. So what's the big question? One analyst, Lou Scatalia from NFL Spin Zone, called the Hargrave signing the worst move on Kwesi's books. A 2-year, $30 million deal for a 32-year-old coming off an injury? That's got fans talking. Is this a bust waiting to happen? Or is Hargrave the missing piece for our defense? Let's dive deeper. What do you think, Vikings fans? Let's talk about Javon Hargrave, the man at the center of this debate. This guy's been a beast, racking up 98 pressures over 4 years in Pittsburgh and a 14.2% pressure rate in 2023, third only to Aaron Donald and Chris Jones. Per PFF, that's elite company. The Vikings signed him to bring that same heat to US Bank Stadium, and Kwesi's betting on Hargrave to terrorize quarterbacks in 2025. But here's the catch, Hargrave's 32 and coming off a season-ending injury in 2024 with the 49ers. Critics like Scatalia argue that $15 million a year is too steep for a player who might not be the same force. Yet, Hargrave's previous deal with San Francisco was a massive 4 years, $84 million. So is this 2-year contract actually a bargain? The Vikings structured it smartly, front-loading the guaranteed money with a $12.945 million signing bonus, giving us an out in 2026 with just a $10 million dead cap hit. Skol Nation, let's be real, Hargrave doesn't need to be Superman. With Jalen Redmond emerging as a hidden gem and Jonathan Allen bolstering the D-line, Hargrave's job is simple. Get after the quarterback. If he can deliver his usual 60-plus pressures, this deal could be a steal. What's your take? Is Hargrave worth the price? Or are we banking too much on a veteran? Now, let's zoom out and look at Kwesi's bigger picture. This offseason, he's been a free agency wizard, targeting players like Hargrave, Jonathan Allen, and Will Fries, all coming off injuries but with massive upside. Why? Because the Vikings are in win-now mode while J.J. McCarthy's contract is still cheap. Kwesi's not just throwing money around. He's building a roster to dominate the trenches and set up our young QB for success. The cap hits tell the story. Hargrave at $7.91 million in 2025, Allen at $6.87 million, and Fries at $6 million per Spotrac. That's a hefty investment, but it's strategic. The Vikings defense ranked middle of the pack in pressure rate last year, and our O-line gave up 47 sacks. Kwesi's moves scream one thing: no more excuses. We're building a wall on offense and a wrecking crew on defense. But here's the suspense. Will these injury-prone signings pan out? Hargrave and Allen missed significant time in 2024, and Fries is no guarantee either. If they stay healthy, we could have one of the NFL's most fearsome fronts. If not, Kwesi's got some explaining to do. What do you think, Skol Nation? Is this the right move for our Vikings? Let's get to the controversy. Why does Skatalia think the Hargrave deal is a bust? He argues that $15 million a year for a 32-year-old with injury concerns is a risky bet, especially when the Vikings have depth with players like Jalen Redmond. Skatalia's point isn't baseless. Hargrave's not getting any younger, and his 2024 injury raises red flags. Could this be a case of paying for past performance? On the flip side, Hargrave's track record is undeniable. Over the past 5 years, he's been one of the NFL's best at generating quarterback pressure, with 10.5 sacks in his last 2 healthy seasons. The Vikings aren't asking him to play every snap, just to be a game-changer in key moments. Plus, that $10 million dead cap out in 2026 gives Minnesota flexibility if things go south. Sounds like Kwesi's playing chess, not checkers. So what's the verdict? Skatalia's take is spicy, but is it fair? If Hargrave stays healthy and delivers 60-plus pressures, this contract could look like a bargain. Vikings fans, are you buying the hype or siding with the skeptics? Drop your thoughts below, and let's keep this debate rolling. Let's shift gears to the rest of Kwesi's free agency haul. Jonathan Allen, another defensive tackle, joins Hargrave to form a potentially lethal interior duo. Allen's $6.87 million cap hit is a steal for a 2-time Pro Bowler, even after missing half of 2024 with a pectoral injury. Then there's Will Fries, a guard with a $6 million cap hit, tasked with shoring up our O-line. These moves scream one thing: Kwesi's obsessed with fixing the trenches. The Vikings' 2024 season showed flashes of brilliance, but the lack of interior pressure and O-line struggles were glaring. Per Vikings.com, our defense generated just 39 sacks last year, ranking 18th in the NFL. Meanwhile, our O-line allowed a pressure rate of 34.2%, one of the league's worst. Kwesi's signings are a direct response, aiming to give J.J. McCarthy time to throw and our defense a chance to dominate. Here's the big question: can these veterans stay healthy? Allen and Hargrave have Pro Bowl pedigrees, but injuries are a concern. Fries, a former Colt, has potential but isn't a household name. Skol Nation, are you excited about this new look line? Or are you worried about the injury risks? Let's hear it in the comments. Now, let's talk about J.J. McCarthy, the future of our franchise. Kwesi's offseason moves are all about setting up our rookie QB for success. With a cap hit of just $4.97 million in 2025, McCarthy gives the Vikings room to splurge on veterans like Hargrave. The plan is clear: protect J.J., pressure the opposing QB, and let our young star cook. McCarthy showed promise in limited action last year, but the O-line struggles didn't do him any favors. Adding Fries and keeping guys like Christian Darrisaw healthy is crucial. On defense, Hargrave and Allen could give McCarthy cleaner pockets to work with by forcing opponents to respect our pass rush. It's a beautiful domino effect, if it works. But here's the suspense: will McCarthy take the leap in 2025? Kwesi's betting big on him, and these signings are the foundation. If Hargrave and company deliver, we could see J.J. slinging it like a young Aaron Rodgers. Vikings fans, are you ready to see McCarthy shine? Or is it too early to crown him? Hit the comments. Let's address the elephant in the room: Kwesi's draft struggles. While his free agency moves are getting praise, his draft classes have been hit or miss. Only 4 picks in 2025 meant he had to lean hard on free agency, and he's delivered with signings like Hargrave, Allen, and Fries. But some fans are questioning if he's overcompensating for draft misses. Take Jalen Redmond, for example, a late-round gem who's quietly becoming a force on the D-line. If Redmond keeps developing, Hargrave's role becomes even more defined: a high-impact specialist, not an every-down player. Kwesi's ability to find value in free agency is elite, but his draft track record has fans wondering if he can hit on young talent. So what's the bigger picture? Kwesi's building a win-now roster, but the lack of draft capital could haunt us later. Skol Nation, do you trust Kwesi to keep this momentum going? Or are you worried about the future? Let's debate it below. This is what being a Vikings fan is all about. Let's circle back to Hargrave's deal. Is $15 million a year too much? Compare it to Byron Murphy Jr.'s $18 million cap hit as our CB1. Murphy's a stud, but some argue he's overpaid for a corner who hasn't consistently locked down elite receivers. Hargrave, on the other hand, has a proven track record of disrupting QBs. Maybe Skatalia picked the wrong target. The Vikings' cap situation is tight, with Hargrave at $7.91 million and Murphy at $18 million in 2025 per Spotrac. But Hargrave's deal is structured to minimize risk, with most of the guaranteed money paid up front. If he delivers 60-plus pressures, that's a bargain compared to the $21 million-plus market for top defensive tackles. Kwesi's playing the long game here. So what's the real risk? If Hargrave's injuries linger, we could be stuck with a pricey underperformer. But if he's healthy, he's a game changer. Vikings fans, are you rolling with Kwesi's vision? Or is this deal giving you pause? Drop your hot takes in the comments. As we near the end, let's look at the bigger picture for 2025. The Vikings are all in on a Super Bowl push, and Kwesi's offseason moves show it. Hargrave, Allen, and Fries are the cornerstones of a revamped trench game, designed to protect J.J. McCarthy and terrorize opposing QBs. But it's a high-stakes bet on injury-prone veterans. Recent updates from Vikings.com highlight the team's optimism. Defensive coordinator Brian Flores is reportedly thrilled with the Hargrave-Allen duo, calling them disruptors who fit his aggressive scheme. On offense, Fries could be the missing piece to stabilize the line. If these guys click, we could be looking at a top 10 unit on both sides of the ball. Here's the million-dollar question. Can the Vikings turn 14 wins into a deep playoff run? The pieces are in place, but health and execution are everything. Skol Nation, are you feeling the hype for 2025? Or is it too good to be true? Let's talk about it below. Alright, Vikings fans, it's time to wrap this up. Kwesi Adofo-Mensah has turned the offseason into a blockbuster, with Javon Hargrave's signing stealing the headlines. Is it the worst deal on the books, as Skatalia claims, or a savvy move to push us toward a Super Bowl? With Hargrave's pressure rate, Kwesi's cap wizardry, and J.J. McCarthy's potential, I'm leaning toward genius, but I want to hear from you. The 2025 season is shaping up to be a wild ride. Skol Nation. If Hargrave, Allen, and Fries stay healthy, we could be unstoppable. But injuries and age are real risks, and Kwesi's draft struggles can't be ignored. Still, the trenches are where championships are won, and the Vikings are loading up. So, what's your take? Is Hargrave's deal a bust or a bargain? Are we Super Bowl bound? Or is this another Minnesota mirage? Smash that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more Vikings news and updates. Share this with your fellow Skol brothers and sisters, and let's get ready for 2025. Skol Vikings.